I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Was running with a little black lab, and she was screaming, "Call 911, call 911." She says, my stepfather is shooting everyone in my household. I wanted to get her in the car, but she just refused to leave her family. And that just says testament of how much she loved them.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kelly, and we are back with another video. I want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and checking me out. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. If you're into true crime stories, news, and political commentary, as well as other things we get into on this channel, I would very much appreciate it. And if you are not new, you're a returning listener, subscriber, thank you as always for being a friend. And if you could give me a like on the video, a comment, whatever you can do, it really does help my channel out, and I appreciate you guys so much for any interactions that you may give. So I wanted to jump on here quickly and just provide an update on this story. This one's been very heavy on my mind recently. As you all know, or if you don't know, this man here that you see in the thumbnail, if you can even call him that, took the lives of his 3 young boys last week before Father's Day weekend, and has been sitting in jail while he was officially indicted this past Friday. He appeared in court, so some new details came out, and I wanted to show you guys some of the footage, and we're going to listen to a 911 call that was released as well. Just some more details surrounding this case. Like I said, I was going to be following up with this one and keeping up with it, and so I wanted to keep you guys up to date as well if you were interested, for those of you who are also following it. So we're going to jump right into it, guys. That was the lead up to the 911 call, which we're going to listen to first. So that was actually the lady who stopped and helped this sicko's stepdaughter, who ran away from the home as this piece of shit was literally executing his sons methodically. She was able to escape and run away down the street to try to get some help. So let's jump into that first. We're going to listen to that 911 call, and then we will jump into some of the court footage from Friday. So let me pull everything up, guys.
Emergency. There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family. It's on the corner of where there's a body shop and the fire department. Do you know what road this is?
Okay, what's your name?
Get into the fire department.
What's your name?
Do you know what road this is? Laura Lindell Road.
You said what?
It's Laura Lindell Road.
Okay, and what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did she say how, or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family. But I think she ran to the fire department.
So she went to the fire station. What did she look like?
She's probably a young teenager, probably like 16 maybe, with long blonde hair. And she has a black dog.
Did she say anything about a baby?
I don't know about no baby. She said she just couldn't leave her family. But I see a car running around. I'm sorry?
Do you see anything from the house?
So I drove down the road a little bit, so I was afraid that I was going to get shot myself since I interacted with her face-to-face. So I'm just about like maybe 3 houses down. But she's like waiting at the corner. I don't know what she's doing, but I kind of still see her in the corner. But I saw a car kind of came around and whipped around, so I'm not exactly sure if that's him or if he's chasing her or not. I'm sorry?
What kind of vehicle was it?
I saw it. It was like a gray. Did you see that car whip around? It's one of the fire department guys.
Okay.
I think maybe a fire department guy. It was a regular kind of Focus-looking gray car.
Okay, we have help on the way. Thank you so
Dark
much.
gray.
If you
Okay,
see
all right.
anything else, call us back, okay, and steer clear of the area at this time.
Okay. This said stay clear from the area.
Yeah, which
But I think that's the house right there.
Okay. Oh, are you inside where you're safe?
I'm standing outside where I can see the fucking lady.
Okay.
I'm across the street at Lindale Automotive.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children
Okay. All right. I need. What was
that
your
I've
name,
seen.
sir?
My name is.
What's your last name? All right. We've got help on the way. If you could just try to stay inside so that you're safe.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. So those were 2 of the 911 phone calls that were released. In this case, there was also an additional phone call made from the mother of these 3 boys, which I don't believe has been released. At least I have not seen it anywhere online. I think possibly out of respect to the mother of these children. I don't know whether or not it will be released or not. But I mean, it's horrific enough to listen to the 2 that we just heard. People were, seeing this girl running down the street, exclaiming something so horrific. And then the man who called later claiming that he saw at least 2 of the boys, gunned down in their front yard. It's like a scene that's unimaginable. It truly is. So I want to get into some of the news stories that were covering this, wrapping up some of the details and painting a clearer picture of what it was that transpired and who this monster was.
Tonight at 10, a Claremont County father indicted on murder exactly 1 week after he allegedly shot and killed his 3 young sons.
That is right. A grand jury indicted Chad Doerman on 21 charges.
Chancellor Nguyen is live from Monroe Township breaking down the charges.
We are live just across the street from where that crime scene was last Thursday, but now there's simply a memorial standing in the front yard. I want you to take a look behind me because this memorial has continued to grow over the last week as people came to add teddy bears, balloons, flowers, and now even a tent to protect it from the rain. And during this time period, investigators and the prosecutor were putting together their case against the boy's father, Chad Doerman. And today, he was indicted on 21 charges, including 9 counts of aggravated murder. So I talked to Fox 19 Now's legal analyst Mark Crumbine and broke down why he is facing so many charges.
These are charges with huge possible sentences, huge.
Chad Doerman is the man accused of shooting and killing his 3 sons, ages 7, 4, and 3. On Thursday, a grand jury indicted Doerman on 21 charges, including 9 counts of aggravated murder. That's 3 different aggravated murder charges for each one of the boys.
The prosecutor has charged different versions of aggravated murder to make sure that they get as many convictions as they can.
Fox 19 Now's legal analyst Mark Crumbine says version 1 of the aggravated murder charges is simply premeditated murder. Version 2 is premeditated murder plus kidnapping. And version 3 is murder of a child under the age of 13.
Really?
So, I mean, maybe he's about to explain it, but maybe I'm jumping the gun. I guess I just don't understand. Like, they're... maybe every state has different laws, granted. So I mean, obviously, unless you're fluent in Ohio law, then you probably won't know this. Me, I'm not. So I just don't understand why they charged him with kidnapping and then also aggravated murder. If one of those aggravated murder charges included kidnapping. So, and again, maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe he's fixing to explain.
These are just variations on a theme, and the theme is murder.
A similar theme continues through the indictment, as Doerman is also charged with 8 counts of kidnapping. That's 2 kidnapping charges for each of his 3 sons, plus 2 additional counts for another unnamed person.
If, for instance, the children were forced to go out and line up in order for him to shoot them for the purpose of killing them, that would be a kidnapping.
The final 4 charges in the indictment are for felonious assault. Court documents allege that Doerman assaulted 2 other people, including shooting the mother of his 3 sons in the hand. Doerman faces 2 different felonious assault charges per person. Crumbine defines the first felonious assault charge as causing serious physical harm to another, and he defines the second felonious assault charge as causing physical harm by using a deadly weapon. In Doerman's case, the indictment states he possessed a Marlin Model HC-22 rifle.
Shooting at somebody, even if you missed and they weren't harmed at all, that could fit the description of felonious assault.
In the indictment, there are also multiple specifications under each of the 21 charges. Crumbine tells me these specifications could add on years to Doerman's sentence if he is convicted.
It's a way to really pile on the years to really put somebody away for as long as possible.
But, okay. Interesting.
Now, Chad Doerman currently remains behind bars at the Clermont County Jail, and of course, we will continue to follow this story very closely, and when we learn of Doerman's next court date, we will let you know. For reporting live in Monroe Township, Chancellor Wynn, Fox 19 Now.
Thank you, Chancellor.
So I guess I just don't understand the strategy behind all of these different charges and why they're needing to pursue so many different charges in order to stack on the years, as that legal analyst was just kind of explaining, because I mean, one charge of first-degree murder usually carries with it life without the possibility of parole. So I guess I just don't see the you know, what the point is behind that. If anybody knows, like, maybe, you know, leave in the comments, because I didn't really do any sort of background research on that. Maybe I will try to look into that for the next video or the next update on this case. But that's kind of interesting to me, because I guess I just don't, I'm ignorant to the facts of the reasoning behind that. But what do y'all think, guys? I mean, the way that this case is being charged is very interesting to me. And again, this probably goes back to just their laws and their statutes that they have in that state, which is different than, you know, every other state in the union. So I can't really speak on that because I just don't know enough. But I mean, either way, the prosecutor already came out and said that he is pursuing the death penalty. That's something that he wants. So I really don't think it matters, because at the end of the day, I don't want to see this man serve any time behind bars. I do feel he should be executed behind the jail, you know, as soon as he's found guilty, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, he was, at the end of the day, caught red-handed, and it is my opinion that if people do something heinous, you know, crimes like these, and they're caught red-handed, either, like, you know, obviously the mother of the children witnessed the whole thing. She was a victim and a party to the crime. So in cases like this specific case right here is a prime example of somebody who deserves the death penalty and should not be spending any sort of time on death row whatsoever, going through the appeals process, you know, wasting taxpayer money. No, there should be absolutely none of that whatsoever. Okay, it's one thing if there's any sort of doubts behind the case, DNA that has to be tested, or, you know, any sort of doubt whatsoever, even though somebody obviously should not be convicted of murder if there is any doubt, but that's beyond the point. I'm just saying, in cases like this, if this is gone through the process of a trial and he's found guilty, I mean, execution immediately. What is there to say? He killed his 3 young sons, stole their lives right from them and from their mother. It's disgusting. He's done. He should be done. So I want to get into now some of the more gruesome details, guys, from the prosecutor in this case. I first want to show you guys, as they're reading off these charges in open court, the demeanor of this monster, okay, and how he looked in court, in comparison to the last time we saw him in court in that green vest, okay, he looked a little bit different, and his lawyers entered a plea of not guilty for him. So I found this to be pretty interesting because not guilty, but then there is some reasoning behind that, which we'll get into also.
After 30 years, life with the possibility of parole after 25 years, life with the possibility of parole after 20 years, and again, the firearm specification is 3 years mandatory and the same time.
Thank you. As to count 3, does the defense agree with the possible penalties that have been recited?
Yes, sir. We do.
For the record, Mr. Haynes, Mr. Doerman, you understand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Baron Allen. As to count 4, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Count 4 is charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 290301B, again, aggravated murder and unspecified felony. There are multiple aggravating circumstance specifications attached to that.
I mean, I see no remorse.
Aggravating circumstance specifications are 51-13. Course of conduct specifications.
This looks like a person to me that feels sorry for himself. He has obviously an inner conflict going on inside of his head, but I see absolutely no remorse, no sadness for what he has done, in my opinion. And I don't know this man, I'm just an outsider, but I mean, how do you sit there? And he almost has a look of contempt, and there has been all kinds of, you know, rumors going around saying that there was problems in their marriage between him and his wife, the mother of these 3 young boys, and that there was planning associated with this crime that, you know, was related to some of the disagreements that he had with the mother of his children, and basically that he was sort of bitter as to, you know, her threatening to leave him. Now, none of that obviously is confirmed. These are just things that have been coming out. Obviously, people are, you know, very invested in this case. This is a horrific crime that was committed, and when things like this happen, it just draws a sort of attention, and it draws people in because nobody can fathom something like this. It's one of the most heinous things that anybody can ever do, and so when crimes like this happen, it really just stuns and shocks people to the point of you know, wanting to know every detail. So who knows? I mean, there's still a lot that needs to come out, and they will eventually, I'm sure, release some sort of motive, or at least you know, a theory on motive, but whatever it is, it's really a moot point at this time, because it doesn't matter why he did it. The fact of the matter is that he did it. So
that firearm specification, again, convicted of aggravated murder, as well as any of the aggravating circumstance specifications, the possible penalties would be death, life without parole, life with the possibility of parole after 30 years, or life with the possibility of parole after 25 years. The firearm specification again carries that 3 years mandatory, which must be served prior and consecutive to any imposed prison sentence, and the possible fine of $25,000. If convicted of aggravated murder without any aggravating circumstance specification, the possible penalties would be life without parole, life with the possibility of parole after 30 years, life with the possibility of parole after 25 years, life with the possibility of parole after 20 years, and that same firearm specification of 3 years mandatory, and the same fine of $25,000.
Thank you. Mr. Myers or Mr. Haynes?
We agree, Your Honor.
You agree. Mr. Doerman, you understand? Thank you. As to count 5, Ms. Baronet.
wow.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, okay, guys, now the next thing we're going to get to is the details, which, just a forewarning, are graphic, and, you know, if you don't want to hear about horrific child abuse and the murder of 3 small children and the details behind that, then skip ahead maybe 5 minutes, or maybe just click off the video, whatever you need to do, guys. But the prosecutor is fixing to outline some more of the details of the crime, so just forewarning you in advance if you don't want to hear that. So let me get to that point.
Discussing bond. The Constitution says where proof is evident and
Continue.
great.
Go on, continue.
Judge, I think
Thank you,
record that thank you, Your Honor. The court needs to have some understanding of the facts. What we have here is the planned slaughter of 3 little boys, ages 7, 4, and 3. The first one shot There was a 4-year-old shot in the house 2 times and sustained 2 bullet wounds to the head, causing his death. The second child shot was a 7-year-old who fled the residence, ran some 300 feet from the residence, and was gunned down from behind by the defendant. We then approached this little boy who was injured, incapacitated, alive, shot him in the head twice from close distance. There were powder burns in the boy's head. Then he went after the 3-year-old. There was a struggle with the mother. He ripped the child from the mother's arms and put a bullet in his head. Close range. Powder burns on the 3-year-old boy's head. Your Honor, those facts are important for the court to know in terms of this being a capital case. We find, Your Honor, my conclusion is that the proof is evident and the presumption is great, and that he be held without bail.
All right. Thank you. Defense has nothing to add.
Yeah, right.
All right. The court's going to order based upon
Nothing.
Article
Nothing
1
from the sicko.
of the Ohio Constitution section.
No, Your Honor.
Any questions, Mr. Doerman?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Court's in recess for this purpose.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Wow. Good riddance, you pile of shit.
Thank you.
What a sick man. What a sick.
Oh, we still
I don't
need your
even
signature.
like calling him a man because he is subhuman. Like, I still just it escapes me how anyone could have done this. Those 3 boys, like, I just see their faces and it's heartbreaking because they're just so young, so innocent, so beautiful, like so full of life, potential, everything. I mean, that mother, I cannot imagine what she's feeling. I mean, 3 sons, the possibility for life, so much joy and happiness in their future, so much to give to the world. It's gut-wrenching to think about what has been lost in this case. All for what? I mean, there's absolutely no good explanation. There is no justification, and this man should not have a life anymore. I mean, he should be wiped off the face of the planet and his memory just forgotten, because that's what he took from this whole family. So next I want to get into some of the legal analysis of the explanation as to why they entered a not guilty plea, because again, this goes back to like Ohio law is a little bit different. So this is something that I was questioning as well whenever I heard them enter the plea of not guilty. So I wanted to show you guys this so it helps to explain it a little bit better.
So we're bringing in our legal analyst, Mark Crumbine. Mark, today he pleaded not guilty to these 21 charges against him, but talk about why that's not surprising that he pleaded not guilty, that this is how this goes.
No, in the state of Ohio, when you go to the arraignment after you've been indicted, you have to plead not guilty. They won't even allow you to say guilty if you wanted to. But it shouldn't truly be a surprise because he's facing the death penalty. So there's a lot of work to be done, and it could take a year, 2 years. So this is really just the beginning.
I wanted to ask you too, detectives are saying that he confessed to this. Given that information, do you think this could turn into a plea deal? I mean, of course, we don't know, but what do you think? What's your take?
Well, Mr. Tucolvi, who's the prosecutor, Claremont County prosecutor, he said this morning on your show, he said, my plan is to have this man killed.
Right.
So that's what he wants. So with that being said, it doesn't sound like the prosecutor would be willing to accept any type of plea, but you never know.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about that death penalty part of this, Mark. So how could that impact how this case unfolds? Say this goes to trial, what will that look like? How will it be different from a trial where the death penalty is not on the table?
Well, it's very different. There's a couple different things that could happen. First of all, you can try the case. You can't, in a death penalty case, unlike a normal felony case, you either have a jury or a 3-judge panel. Okay. It's unique in the state of Ohio in that regard. But then it's bifurcated, so there are 2 parts. if the jury finds somebody guilty of the aggravated murder with what they call the death penalty specifications, that means that they can go to the second phase, the mitigation phase. And that part of the trial is all about whether the person should get the death penalty or not. So there are two distinct phases. And another unique thing in Ohio is that if you're on trial for your life, you can actually make an unsworn statement without being cross-examined. It's unique in the whole system. You have the right to remain silent in any case, but in a death penalty case, you can actually take the stand and make a statement without being cross-examined, and you're not even sworn in.
Wow.
It's very unusual.
Yeah, definitely some differences there with the death penalty involved in this. And is that surprising to you that they're already discussing the death penalty this early on in the case? I mean, we know the allegations against Chad Doerman are pretty horrific.
Well, you know, at this stage, he's been indicted, so that means several grand jurors have listened to the evidence, and they think it should be a death penalty case. I'm sure the prosecutor wanted to get them to do that, but they've already decided this could be a death penalty case. So that's a big difference between any other type of aggravated murder.
This app, you can scan that
So
QR.
it sounds like Ohio law has some very strange things that dictate what happens in these court proceedings. Very unusual from what I've seen, but like I said, every state has its own process, so we'll just have to see how it plays out. And you know, obviously, I think that there's no need to hope for a conviction in this case. I think it's pretty obvious what's happened. There's been full confession, not to mention a witness, eyewitness, plus two victims actually that lived through this event. It's safe to say that this man is going to go down for this. I guess it's just a matter of whether or not they can secure a death penalty conviction and, just get rid of this person for good and not have to burden the taxpayers of Ohio with his life, living behind bars when he took 3 precious lives, into his own hands and strip those of, their possibility and their potential. So, but what do you guys think? I'm curious to know, what are y'all's thoughts on the death penalty in general, and do y'all think that this, trash person deserves to have that punishment? So I personally, I do. So I wanted to also get into a couple more things with y'all, and then we'll jump out of here.
This is a death penalty case, and my goal is to have this man executed for slaughtering these 3 little boys.
The prosecutor also made a point to recognize the family who is dealing with this loss, saying that he wants to express his deepest sympathy for their loss. Reporting live from Batavia, Mike Shell, Fox 19 Now.
Mike, thanks.
So that was just a little statement from the prosecutor, basically just announcing that he was seeking the death penalty, and his, some of his reasonings, as if, in my opinion, he doesn't need to state those. They're pretty obvious, but I wanted to show you guys these couple interviews. One from a neighbor of the Doerman household, who lived right next door and kind of attested to the character of this person. So let's watch this. This is from the local news, Cincinnati, Ohio news station. So this is Richard Kincannon, who I believe lived right across the street from this family.
He was an asshole.
Richard Kincannon tells me Chad Doerman had a temper. He told me he witnessed him often treating his wife and kids poorly.
You felt like he was just angry, generally speaking.
He was every day. Heard him. There wasn't a day he didn't yell at his wife and kids out there.
What would he yell?
All kinds of shit. He was just angry, yelling at her all the time, treating her like.
Police arrested Doerman Thursday after he allegedly shot his wife in the hand, then systematically killed each of his young sons. Their dead bodies laid in the yard.
So when you look at that house now, what do you see?
You know, I still want to know.
Yeah, I do.
I still see the babies sitting in the yard, laying in the yard. One was right there by the tree, right by the road, not even 20 feet from the road right there. This is where that dude laid him. Laid one up there right beside that silver truck to the left of the tire, about 5 foot. That's all I see every time I come out here. That's why I try to look at that, focus on that.
A tent now covers a memorial of candles, cars, and cuddle toys. Kincannon tells me he's struggled to eat or sleep since the murders. He watched Chad Doerman cry at his arraignment and had no compassion for him whatsoever.
He knew what he was doing.
Literally.
He planned it. It was premeditated. He shouldn't have a bond. He should never see daylight again, ever in his life. And I think they should execute him the same way he did his sons, is the way he needs to go out.
Doerman's due back in court on June 26th. We will be there. Tanya O'Rourke, WCPO 9 News.
The way they did his.
By the way, it's also the Thug Life cat t-shirt for me. Okay. Just want to say, sir, that's, I respect it. Okay. Not to try to make light of anything in this case, but you gotta laugh whenever you can. I mean, life is, can be horrific, but we can also appreciate a Thug Life cat t-shirt, okay, when it appears in our face. So this man just providing his own testimony as to what he saw as the next door neighbor, or the I guess across the street neighbor. I mean, the view from his doorstep right there, literally walks out of his house, and he probably could have seen this entire thing just transpire right before his eyes. I mean, just, I can't imagine the horrors seen by so many on that day. It's mind-blowing. So next thing and the last thing we're going to watch here, guys, is this statement, or this interview by the father of Chad Doerman. Again, I kind of touched on this in my first video. This might be the same interview. I don't know if this is a different interview, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt because I haven't watched this yet. So before I say anything, let's get into it, and then I will provide my comments on it.
A judge said Chad Doerman's bond at $20 million, which is the highest bond ever set by prosecutors. Chad's father, Keith, spoke to me on the phone tonight, who says he is angry at his son, but at the same time is defending his son's character and feels something bad happened to him.
They won't let you talk to your son?
Keith Doerman, now living in Florida, said he came back to Ohio Thursday night after he found out what happened that day on Laurel Lindale Road in Monroe Township, but said he's not allowed to talk to his son. Chad Doerman confessed to shooting and killing his 3 sons execution style. Chad's father tells us this is completely out of character for Chad, saying his son isn't violent. I don't know what went on in his personal life. It's a shocker to us we didn't see it coming. He just snapped. I could tell in his eyes he's hollow inside. That wasn't Chad standing at the arraignment. I mean, that was not him. Contrary to what the elder Doerman said, this is what Assistant Claremont County Prosecutor David Gass said in court Friday.
We know that one of the boys was able to flee into a field near the home. And again, we know from his admission, father hunted that boy down, drug him back to the property, and executed him in front of witnesses.
On Friday, we found out prosecutors charged Chad Doerman with domestic violence in 2010 for allegedly choking his father, but authorities dropped the charge. Keith Doerman told me he can't figure out why his son would have done this. A lot of stuff out there that could make you flip, and I don't think there's enough research on that, alluding to the possibility his son Chad could be suffering from mental illness, but also said, I don't know if it was financial, I don't know if it was marital, I don't know if it's work-related, I don't know. Keith defended his son, saying he was a good kid and a good father, but said, I don't want nobody to badmouth him because this is a terrible thing he did, and I'm angry at him for it, but there's something deeper inside. That's all it is.
Okay, you don't
48
even
hours.
badmouth him. Well, sir, really good luck with that, because your son's a piece of shit loser who killed his own sons, and he should be badmouthed. He should be buried underneath the jail, and, I'm not even gonna go there. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the initial statement that was given, and he didn't even have his voice actually played on this interview. The interviewer actually read out, I guess, his statements there. So you know, you can't understand where this came from. You don't understand how your son could have done something like this when he was previously accused and charged with choking you out, domestic violence. But the only reason why he wasn't convicted was because you didn't cooperate with prosecution, which, granted, you know, probably most fathers would do. I give you that, but it's not out of nowhere. Obviously, your son had a tendency for violence, even if it was only one circumstance. You know, who chokes out their own father? That's bizarre. And yeah, you can maybe point to pills or pharmaceuticals or mental illness or whatever, you know, it is you can point to. There are so many issues in our society. There are so many things that are, you know, poisoning us in our daily lives, you know, that we have very little control over or even very little knowledge of. And I grant you that. That's valid. That doesn't give any explanation, justification, or cause for doing what he did. We're all in that same boat, okay? There's so many people who are on pharmaceuticals, who are taking SSRIs, who are being poisoned by the foods that they eat. I mean, it's just, it goes on and on and on. But, and yes, we are seeing more and more horrific crimes. And there's also a lack of God in this country that is a major issue. A lack of family structure. There's countless things, okay, that are problems that we can look to fix that we are not currently doing. It still doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's nothing you could say, and so really you just shouldn't have said anything at all, in my opinion. But I want to know, what do you guys think? Y'all, please let me know in the comments down below about this case. I mean, it's just the stuff of nightmares, and I don't understand how you know, he can just sit there in court and with a straight face have no reaction to the crimes that he's committed. When he cried the last time he appeared in court, this time completely stone-faced, almost like not smug, but like he had this, you know, look of just indignation almost for him having to go through this process. And maybe he is just trying to take responsibility and just, you know, get it over with, you know, plead guilty and just go about his business. But it's not going to be that simple. There is going to be a process behind this, and he's going to have to go through that. And I hope it is a painful and a long process for him, because it's what he deserves, okay? It's truly what he deserves for taking these 3 beautiful, innocent lives. It's disgusting what he's done, and he's gonna have to live with it. Hopefully it's a short life though for him. So y'all let me know, guys, in the comments, what do y'all think? Please like this video if you guys liked it, and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more videos like this and other content as well. And y'all stay safe, guys. Until next time, I will see y'all later, okay? Bye.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.